Finally, after 12 years, I've caught every single Pokemon you can think of. Every gender, every form, you name it. 12 years later, hundreds of dollars. I did it. Well, kinda. Okay, now I know it's only been a couple weeks since I showed off my last collection, but I've been going super hard these past couple weeks to really get this done. It's been a huge milestone, I'm sure, for anybody, but want to get this done. This is like one of my biggest achievements.
Oh, what a loser!
I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna show you guys everything. I have it sorted, a full living dex. If you guys want like something to go off of, feel free to use this video. I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. No, I do not have every shiny. I'm kind of working on it a little bit, but this is a full living form. If you don't know, it's every Pokemon. There's 1,025 of them. Everyone that has a exclusive variant, like the Zarude with the scarf or the Pikachu with the hat. Every gender, like the Venusaur I showed off in the last video. There's a ton of them like that. Every forms, like a Alolan, Galarian, all that. I have them right here in my home. Excited to show you guys. Let's get into it. Now, last time I kind of briefly went over everything. This time I'm looking to give you guys a full tour of everything, maybe a little details on how I got about them. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering, how did it take you 12 years? What do you mean 12 years? Pokemon Home's only been out for 5. I mean, I picked up my first Pokemon game, Pokemon X and Y. I know there's going to be some old heads in here that, oh my, I started in Red and Blue. Congratulations. I'm not that old, so I started in X and Y. I personally think that's one of the better generations to start in, with Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire coming out right after that. That's when I started. So technically, I'm counting my journey. I started 12 years ago, and I'm just now completing them. Now, looking into box 1, you can see the 2 Venusaurs. That's what I'm talking about with the genders. If you don't know, I'm sure a lot of you guys do, but for those of you who don't know, you can see the bulb at the top, a little different. Butterfree, same thing a little bit. The wings are a little bit different. So if you see 2 like that, like I can't even tell the difference, just know there is a difference there. It's just the gender. And then obviously you can see with the Rattata and Eradicate, there are the Alolan forms, and that's what I mean, Form Dex. It's got all the forms. It's got 2 because of male and female. That detail, that's how far I'm going. I know a lot of people are in this. I know people even go a step further and get the trainer name, the OT. That's crazy to me. I didn't do all that, but most of them I did do. Now you can see these are the Sword and Shield caps. These were a giveaway exclusive a couple years ago. I did manage to get all of them. You can see like all the different generation with their hats on. Pretty cool. Got the male Pikachu, female. And if you're wondering how I organized these myself, I didn't kind of come up with this. I shared this in my last video with Cerebi. Huge help. They have them numbered by box, exactly what place you want to have them in. Highly recommend if you're trying to do this. Definitely do that. But keep going. We have the Alolan Sandshrew and Sandslash, Vulpix, Ninetales, all that good stuff. It's a pretty box to look at. And then as you kind of go, Meowth's got his 3 forms. Nothing crazy with these. A lot of these you kind of just caught with BDSP and Arceus. A lot of these are from Switch games, not from the DS. But still pretty cool. It makes it a little bit easier. A lot of these with the DLC and a lot of the forms coming from Sword and Shield, Scarlet Violet. Those are the main ones where I probably got all of these. As you can see with the Galarian forms, the Alolan forms, the 2 Alakazams there. Moving on. If I'm going too fast, feel free to slow down, pause, whatever, if you really want a deep look. Yeah, I mean, some of these Pokemon that I've used, I'll go in more detail with them, but still just really, really cool. And now the legendary page is obviously going to be pretty cool. So I have the Galarian Articuno, Zapdos, Galarian, all that, right? And obviously I have Mew and Mewtwo. Now going to Gen 2, not my favorite gen, but pretty easy. There's not that many Pokemon to get. Actually, one of the last ones that I had to get were Steelix, female Steelix. That was just one of the ones that took me a while, I guess. But right here you can see all the unknown forms, pretty easy. I'm sure a lot of you guys have it. Arceus, real easy. Now this is what I'm talking about, this male one right here, or the female one. Gave me a little trouble in the end, I guess. Otherwise, not too easy. Gen 2 is honestly probably one of the more easier ones. If you have BDSP and RCS, you should get that done. Super easy. You can see the legendaries. Nothing crazy here. Just the beasts and Lugia, Ho-Oh, Celebi. Celebi was interesting to get. That one I did have to move up. But otherwise, not too hard. Gen 3, I don't know why Blaziken and Combusken and Torchic are the only ones that have a female male. As you can see, the other ones are fine, but whatever. Now I didn't really know this either, but like the Dustox and the Beautifly, those are hard to get, I guess. Not really, but those I didn't have for the longest time. Otherwise, there's not too many forms in Gen 3. It's pretty basic, nothing special. I do have the Spinda that I had to get from, I believe I transferred it from Sun and Moon. So that's how I got that in there. Otherwise, you can't. You literally can't. You can only transfer from the DS. So if you don't have Bank, you're going to be waiting on that. Hopefully, maybe they fix that with ZA. Who knows? We'll see. And the rest of these, very easy. I'm sure, like I said, most of you guys have these. The Deoxys forms, I did grind. I did get those in Sword and Shield. Obviously the one from Pokemon Go. I have a lot of Pokemon Go. If you guys want to see my account on that, I'm alright. I haven't played in a while, but I'm level 40. I got some cool stuff in there. If you guys are interested, comment that down below. But getting back to it, Gen 4 is where they kind of went crazy with the gender kind of differences. You can see with the Starly line and just all of them. But this whole page is basically just male and female of everything, and that's kind of how it sticks through the rest of Gen 4. So it was a kind of a bit of pain to get all these, but at the same time, we had 2 Generation 4 games in the span of 2 months a couple years back. So at the end of the day, it wasn't too hard. Now the Rotom forms, these are really fun to get. I don't know, I think these are really cool. But now, moving on to Gen 5. Well, sorry. Let's look at the legendaries. I mean, these are pretty easy, like I just said. There's 2 games where you can get all these. Not that hard. Now, you're probably looking at Victini. Like, how do I get Victini? This I don't know. I don't know how I got that. Moving on. The starters, Gen 5. I love Gen 5. Probably my favorite generation. This is where I started collecting the cards. If you guys know from my last video, Emboar, hands down favorite Pokemon. I'm stoked for ZA. He finally gets something. He'll get a Mega Evolution, I hope. It'll be great. Stay tuned for ZA. Now moving on, you can see the Patrat line and Elemental Monkeys. Those are all from Pokemon Go. Currently, if you do not have Bank, that is the only way you can get those. So we just had the Unova tour a couple months back, so I made sure to stock up on those. Otherwise, if you have Bank, you can get them in X and Y. I know, I'm sure the other games too. But they didn't do too much with the genders in this. It's pretty standard. I just think this generation is so cool. With like Configurus and Darmanitan and Zoroark, like all these are just beautiful. I have all the form, Sawsbuck and Deerlings. Those are pretty cool to get. Different seasons, different colored Frillish, all that stuff. But otherwise, not too big on the gender, which I don't mind. You know, I like to only catch one of them. Now, so many legendaries in Gen 5. That's one of the reasons I love it so much. With the Swords of Justice, those are pretty easy to get. You know, Sword and Shield, you can get a lot of these. The Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus, I did get those in Legends. And then the other ones I got from Sword and Shield. And then transferred the form over. Reshiram, Zekrom, same thing. Kyurem. And then I got the Keldeo. And I traded for the other Keldeo, changed it to the Sky form. Or Sword form, whatever it's called, I don't know. Meloetta, and then the Genesect was with a pack with Volcanion and Marshadow and Sword and Shield a couple years back, so that's how I got that one. Now, moving on to Gen 6. That's where I started. Also one of my favorite generations. I think it's incredible. I kind of went over this in the last video, but I have 2 Greninjas. No, it's not a male and female thing. If you actually look at the ability, it is Battle Bond, which is basically Ash's Greninja. That's why you can see the OT is Ash. If you use it in battle, it will transform to Ash Greninja. Pretty cool. You had to get that through a demo from Sun and Moon a couple years back, and now You can see all the Pavilion forms. And now here's where I kind of clickbaited you all in the title, right?
Oh no!
I am missing a spot right here. And it's kind of ironic because I'm missing this from the game I started on. But I was like 5 or 6. You can't expect me to know to do well, for you don't know, it's the Pokeball Pavilion, Pokeball pattern. If you have this, please let me know. If you want to trade it, I gladly do that. But I understand if you want to hold on to that. But anyway, that's the one I missed. But how was I supposed to know to get that during a little exclusive event? Obviously, that's way gone now. Maybe they'll bring it back for ZA, or it just might be gone forever. I hope so. But for the other patterns, I have every single one. You can do this pretty easily in Scarlet and Violet. There's some websites that you can look and join groups and catch all the different types. So that was pretty fun to do, to catch all of those. But yes, I'm missing those, and yes, I'm missing all the Furfrou. That is something I haven't done yet. I know I said I played a bit of Pokemon Go, but I don't know anybody that has all the forms. So I'm really hoping ZA comes through with that. And unfortunately, if you transfer from XY to home, they won't keep their forms. It'll just go back to a normal Furfrou. It's for those of you who are about to comment that. That's why. Otherwise, I have all the color, Flabebe, Floette, Florges, all that good stuff. Moving on. This is such a good generation. I like Hawlucha, Tyrantrum, all those beautiful. Even Dragalge, I heard was going to get a Mega. Pretty interested and intrigued with that. Otherwise, pretty standard. Now, the Pumpkaboo sizes, those are in Sword and Shield. And the supersized ones, those are like a 1% chance. I got pretty lucky with those. So I got 2 of those. And now you're probably wondering why I have 2 Zygars and 2 10% form Zygars. That is because of the ability. You can see it says Power Construct. You can do this pretty easily in Sword and Shield with just normal Zygarde. And then I have the Aura Break, which is the other one. That's probably the one that 90% of you guys have. I did have to get my Diancie and my Hoopa form from Pokemon Go. And then I have the other Hoopa and then the Volcanion from that pack with Marshadow and Genesect. And moving on to Gen 7, I have all the Oricorio forms, all the starters, obviously. Moving on, I do have the Dusk form Lycanroc, which is probably the more challenging of the 3 to get. Moving on, pretty standard. They kind of stepped away from the gender thing. They like really hit it hard in Gen 4. And after I don't know if they realized like, okay, maybe we don't need to do this. All the Miniors, all those pretty easy to get in Scarlet and Violet now. All the Ultra Beasts I did get in Sword and Shield. Really fun. Love the Ultra Beasts. At first I wasn't a fan, but I love them now. And now looking at the Mythicals, kind of went crazy with the Mythicals in Sun and Moon. You can see the Pokeball Magearna. That you can only get in Pokemon Home for registering every Pokemon. Not like every form like I'm doing, but just every Pokemon registered up until Generation 8, I believe. And then you will unlock the Pokeball Magearna. That's how I did that. That Magearna next to it, the normal one, I found that on a save file from a pawn shop on a Sun and Moon game, or a Sun game. So that was really helpful. And the Marshadow I've been talking about with that low 3-pack. Rest of the Ultra Beasts. And moving on to Gen 8. Gen 8's not hard. I'm sure you could have guessed that. I'm sure a lot of you already have this, being a pretty recent game. Now, I do have the authentic form for Sinistea and its evolution. That was a little tricky, just a little bit, not too hard. But moving on to what I saved for last. Out of all this is what I saved for last. All the Alcremie forms. I do have every single one, every swirl, every sweet, everything. And if you're curious to know how I did that, I didn't do that in Sword and Shield. That would take way too long. I did in Scarlet and Violet with the, what is it? The machine in the blueberry room. You know what I'm talking about. So I grinded the BP and just hoped I got sweets. Picked some up off the ground, all that. Took a really long time. But we did it. We did it. I have every sweet. If you want more detailed look into that, I will definitely make a video on that. Moving on to the legendaries. You can see I have 2 Zarudes. And when I was talking about in the beginning with the scarf, that was from Sword and Shield for, was it the movie promotion? Or am I just thinking of Pokemon Go? I don't know, some exclusive event. I did get that. You see the two versions of Urshifu. I did have to trade for the other one. Otherwise, pretty standard, pretty easy. All you get these from Legends and just playing the game. The Enamorus I did have to trade for again to get that other form. And then moving on to Gen 9, final gen. Uh, there's a couple Pokemon that are kind of hard to get, similar to, I guess, the authentic Synestes, but the three house tandem mouse or mousehold is, I got really lucky with that. That was like my first evolution, just filling out the decks a couple years ago. Got really lucky with that, so I have both those families. All the Squawkabillies pretty easy. You can find them all in the same spot. Obviously, I had to trade for the Ceruledge. I played Scarlet, so I had to do that. Otherwise, pretty standard. No exclusive variants. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is not like a gender thing. This is Finizen and its evolution. I wish you could see, like the whole Superman form for it in home, but they didn't do that. That's all right. Now you can see the Tatsugiris. You got all the different forms right there. All the different Paradox Pokemon. Now, the Dunsparce right there, one's a little longer than the other. That took me some time. I had to, well, the way I went about it, I breeded a bunch of them with that moveset that you need to evolve it, and just evolved them, evolved them, and evolved them, and evolved them. And finally, after filling boxes after boxes after boxes, I finally got it. That one took me some time. I definitely saved that for last because that was a grind. All these I did trade for, thanks to Austin John's codes with the future Paradox Pokemon. That Gimmighoul in the chest is obviously the normal one, and then the one next to it, I believe you can only get from Pokemon Go. It's not hard. You just have to link your Switch and your Pokemon Go, and you'll get the item box in Pokemon Go. Catch the Gimmighoul, pretty easy. So that's how I did that. And the rest of these, I think you know how I caught them. These are DLC, all that, and then but I do have they're not authentic, but it's like artisan and something else, basically the same as the Synesty, but just for Poltergeist and all them. That didn't honestly take me too long with the sandwiches, not too hard. And then our final page, pretty simple. I do have everything right here. These aren't hard to get. These are just DLC Pokemon. And that's going to do it for my living decks. Now, I know I kind of lied to you guys in the beginning. I don't have Pokeball form Pavilion, and I don't have any of the Furfrou styles. Hopefully I can get those with ZA coming out. We'll see. Who knows? Otherwise, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek at my shiny living deck. This is what I'm working on right now. I'll show you guys this. As you can see from the first box, well, this is the first box. I have nothing. So these are all, put in place like where they would be normally. I'm not the biggest shiny hunter. I did shiny hunt a lot in Gen 9. You guys will see that here pretty soon. I do have the legendaries. I did shiny hunt a lot in BDSP actually. Now I think about it. I did get a lot of these legendaries from BDSP. And then those Galarian ones you see are from code distribution, Sword and Shield, not too far back. And then the shiny mythicals are all event Pokemon that were very exclusive. But a lot of these caught in Legends and Scarlet and Violet. Same here. We'll see. I don't know if I'll ever complete this one day. That's the goal. But yeah, BDSP, I was big on shiny hunting all the legendaries. I don't know why. I was obsessed with BDSP. A lot of you guys don't like it. I'm not the biggest fan of it now. At the time, I was obsessed. I think that was because I was just getting back into Pokemon. And I was like the first game, and I was like, oh my gosh, super excited. So I just played it nonstop. But as you can see, I have a lot of legendaries, and a couple empty boxes. Now this Joltik right here, I was completing the Alchremies, and I was doing I needed to get BP for the item collector or whatever, and I joined it. One of the quests was like join a terror raid battle. Joined it, and it was shiny Joltik. And the thing is, I might still have the clip. I'll put it up if I do. I joined the raid, went to the bathroom, came back, and it was finished. And I was about to, like, you know, where it says catch or don't catch. I was about to not catch it, and I was like, hold on, looks a little shiny. And sure enough, it was, and that's what that is. So that was really cool. I haven't never got one out of a terror raid battle. These shiny mythicals are from completing the Pokemon Home Dexes. Again, pretty easy. I have not tackled the Pavilion patterns yet. We'll see if I ever do that. Now that Pyroar, I filmed a video on. The video ends when I get a shiny. That video, it took a while. So that video never made it out, but that's how I have that. Hawlucha, one of my favorite Pokemon, and Gumi, so I had to get all those. Now don't mind some of these. I'm sure some of you guys have already caught on. Not all these are legit. This type of Coco actually I got from that same save file as the Magearna, so that was pretty cool. Obviously, Shiny Zorora. I'm sure a lot of you guys have that. That's just some Sword and Shield. This one was a gift in Scarlet and Violet actually, so that was pretty nice. And yeah, I mean, I started on Sword and Shield a little bit. I kind of got sick of Scarlet and Violet, so obviously code distributions. I had to pull some strings to get those. The Zamazenta one is mine though. The other ones I had to make it happen, if you know what I mean. The Enamorus, that one is from Pokemon Home as well for completing the Legends Dex. And now here's Scarlet and Violet. I kind of tried to go in order. This is kind of where it gets crazy. I played this game a lot, and that's why I've kind of focused more on Sword and Shield now, because I'm kind of burnt out of Scarlet and Violet. As you can see, I have a lot. I have everything almost. I'm missing like a box and a half. Yeah. If you guys want to see some shiny hunting videos, let me know, because I could probably do that for you guys. I could probably do that, you know, finish my Scarlet and Violet decks. But otherwise, that's gonna do it. That is my complete home tour. Everything. If you guys have any questions how I got certain things I didn't go over, I will gladly answer them in the comments. If you guys would like to share yours, I'd love to see that too. If you have something that I don't, please be my guest. Share with that. If you want to trade any of the Furfrou trims or Pokeball Pavilion, let me know. I'm open to it. But other than that, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you guys. I can't thank you enough for all the support you've shown me. Go check out my last videos. It means the world to me. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.